Good morning, Autobot family. How's everybody doing today? I'm stressed the hell out. Stupid meetings. Anyways, today, May 14th, 2020. How you doing? I hope everybody's well. It is me, your intrepid, instructor. I'm all messed up. I had a tough meeting this morning. It had to do with you guys in attendance and doing things in the Google Classroom and the expectations that have been set forth, and how I'm trying very hard to meet the demands that have been placed upon me as your instructor, as well as curating good content for you guys and being your personal cheerleader and being there for you guys so that you can further your education and further your chances at finishing off Job Corps in a timely fashion so that you might gainfully employ yourself in the outside world, which during this pandemic, COVID-19 slash 2020, is a critical thing. And my heart goes out to all of you guys. I know juggling your social lives and your family lives amid this lockdown can be very trying, can be very problematic. And I hope that at least within the Google Classroom that King and I have set up, that there is some amount of normalcy, that you don't view what we put in that classroom as work that you have to do and things you have to do in order to keep the people happy and stuff like that. King and I really try hard to make it so that it's funny and enjoyable and you get a kick out of it and it makes you laugh and smile, uh, because it reminds you of the good times that we had in our shop. And if we can provide that to you guys while also getting across a nugget of automotive information that you guys remember and can use in your lives, and keep in your head so that when you do come back to Westover, that you'll be that much further along, or at least not much further behind. When you even the best basketball players, when they take a vacation, man, they lose some of that. They lose some of that mojo. They got to get back into the groove, and as long as you're practicing during that vacation, you don't lose as much of your mojo. And I'm kind of making a really bad analogy, but it sort of works for trying to let you guys know that so long as you keep your foot in the water and do one little thing a day, maybe it's my word of the day, this, that you, when you return, things won't be as odd at Job Corps. Um, Trying to make it as enjoyable as possible, I guess, is what I'm saying. So, that being said, let us continue on this May 14th, this lovely Thursday. I do believe it's Thursday. Would you boys please do me a favor and get your feet down off the desks and tables? It is a Thursday, the 14th. Remember that? Hey, you guys raised in a barn? Get your feet off the table. Get your feet off the chairs. And stop leaning back. You stop leaning back in the back on the chair. You're gonna fall down. Oh my God! Remember when Isaac Santiago fell down on his chair? He was doing the leaning thing and feet went up. Oh my God! Anyways, word of the day, curated and selected from CDX Automotive's own glossary of terms. So let us discuss a reading from our gospel. And I will say it the way that makes King funny and happy. Accessory drive pulley, or in the real world, accessory drive pulley. A round circular metal disc attached to the front of the engine crankshaft with a rubber fiber belt that helps operate automotive accessories. Accessory drive pulley. It's a very specific item. So on the front of an engine, you're going to have on the inside of the valve covers, the inside of the faceplate, you're going to have camshafts. If you have overhead cams, you're going to have the camshaft belts or camshaft chains going from the crankshaft up to the camshafts, especially in an overhead cam. And in a cam and block V8, like an LS or a Ford V8, the old ones, you'll have it go right from the crank up to the camshaft right above it. And the ratio is always 2-to-1. Camshaft 2, twice as big as the smaller crankshaft pulley. Wow, my brain is still thinking about the meetings I was just in. So why the 2-to-1? Because for every crank of the one rotation of the crank, it's half of the rotation up on the camshaft. One rotation of the camshaft are the 4 strokes. Each crankshaft rotation is 2 intake, compression, ignition, exhaust. Those are the 2 phase sets. So when the crankshaft's on its downward spin, like if you put a dot on the crankshaft pulley right there, and as you watch it rotate through 180 degrees, that's the valves are opening up, the piston's dropping down. So you have valve opening and you're creating that vacuum inside the piston, and it gets to the bottom or bottom dead center where the valves close on the intake and exhaust. The next 360 comes, or 180 comes up, and that's compression, intake and compression. Okay, that's one full 360 off of the crankshaft, but the cam is only 180. So the cam has got to be twice as big as the crankshaft. The second rotation of the crankshaft is when the explosion occurs in the piston, driving the piston down, connecting rod connects to the crankshaft. Crankshaft is now on its second rotation down and around on the combustion stroke. That's the second one, right? Bottom dead center is all the combustion has occurred. All of it, the piston's all the way down, and we've gotten maximum push out of that explosion up in the piston. And the crank is at bottom dead center, second phase, right? First set is the compression, the vacuum, and then compressing it. The second one's explosion. And now as it travels, the crankshaft travels back up along its crankshaft rotation. It's opening up the valves for exhaust and pushing the pistons, pushing all those exhaust gases out of the now open exhaust valve. So it's not fighting anything, it's just pushing it out through the exhaust. The camshaft has to rotate. Okay, it goes 1, 2, 1, 2. For every 2 rotations of the crankshaft, the camshaft moves once. So it's a 2-to-1 ratio, and the camshaft has a bigger drive wheel than the crankshaft does. Now, in front of that metal cover, where the camshaft and the camshaft chain or belt is, there is another hub. It looks actually like a miniature tire rim, hanging off the front of an engine, except this one's got a bunch of little ridges cut into it, almost like, well, they are grooves in a very small accessory drive pulley. So this is the drive pulley. This is the pulley that actually, when you put all the belts on it for the alternator, power steering, power brakes, well, sometimes power brakes are vacuum actuated. What else can be run? Oh yeah, an air pump for smog systems. You could be running an external oil pump if it's a dry sump, which means the oil gets collected in the bottom of an itty bitty oil pan, and then it gets vacuum sucked up into this massive metal tube that has gears in it that compress the oil, pressurize the oil. You can't compress oil, but you can pressurize it and push real hard on it so that it has literally separate hoses that go back up into the engine in separate places, and it pushes oil directly into those places rather than oil just going up and then falling like rain from the heads back down. And also, I mean, there's some pressurized areas too, but nothing like a dry sump system, which is really cool. You guys can Google that. Be that as it may, we're talking about the accessory drive pulley. So it's this ridged pulley, and the ridges don't run front to back. So if you put your finger on it, it would go boop, 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 boop. No, the ridges run concentrically around. Like if someone spun up a clay disc and you put your finger on it, it makes a line in the disc as it spins around. Same for this, except it's on the face of it. The drive belts are usually synthetic rubber, vulcanized, so it's heat treated. They've got fiberglass bands in them or aramid bands in them. So it's basically someone has a length of the carbon fiber or some sort of fiber, and they put it in a mold and they inject liquid around it. So it's liquid rubber vulcanized around these fibers, and that's what gives it its strength. So the idea is you run these. Now, when you only use one around all different kinds of things, it's called a what? A serpentine belt, right? It isn't just one accessory drive belt, one that just goes from the crankshaft that's spinning, that's where all the power is down on the crankshaft. So if you want to spin something, you put a belt on the crankshaft and run your accessory drive, using the accessory drive pulley to run the accessory pulley. This one drives it, this one follows along. Imagine you're pedaling a bike. The big sprocket that you pedal is your accessory drive pulley. The derailleur, the gear in the back wheel, is the accessory. That's a very real way of thinking about it. Your rear wheel on a bike is an accessory pulley. Your accessory drive pulley is the sprocket that you provide power for. Your legs are the pistons going up and down on the pedal, right? And the pedal is connected to the sprocket, which basically looks like the front end of a crankshaft. That's what it's doing. You are the pistons providing energy down to the crankshaft. And the crankshaft pulley, the front sprocket, is what you attach all the things to. Your alternator, your smog pumps, power steering pumps, air conditioning. There's another one, air conditioning pumps. Okay? Those just a couple. Those are the major ones. For the life of me at this point in the morning, I can't remember any other ones. I think those are it. As I sit here. That's what you need. That's how you drive those different systems, using the accessory drive pulley. 15 minutes in, perfect word of the day.